Well, this whole Kirk Cousins thing's coming to a head, or maybe it's just going to be the same song and dance next year. What did you expect on this day, let's say a few months ago? Did you expect the deal to have been done, or did you expect to be where we're at?
I actually expected to be kind of where we're at. And, not to say that both sides didn't try. I think, and, you guys have talked about this, the two sides are getting along. Things are going in the right direction. Everything is positive. Agent Mike McCartney met with Bruce Allen over drinks at the owners' meeting, kind of the first face-to-face social-type meeting either ever or in a long time. Those things are all positive. I know that, Kirk has obviously a lot of positive feelings toward the organization. There's a lot of good happening. But the numbers, it's just hard to see them working the way it is. I mean, you have the franchise tag, obviously now, $24 million. And a lot of times, that's the basis for a deal. You take two franchise tags, you put them together, that's the first 2 years of your deal, and then you add on a couple years after that. But the problem for Kirk is, the next franchise tag is $34 million. The next transition tag is $28 million. So either way, there's a huge, huge jump in year two. And I just didn't see the Redskins coming up with a deal that, included those averages. So I'm not surprised we're at where we're at. And I think the reason everyone's kind of fine with it is because that's really the situation that, everyone has been in and the understanding everyone's been in for a long time.
Ian, can you clear something up here? Not that any team would ever do this, but if the Redskins franchised him this, next year at $34 million, can they franchise him again in the fourth year?
Yeah, so in 2019?
Correct.
Yes. Can they?
In other words, can you keep doing it year after year after year, or is there a limit?
I don't know.
Right.
I think you could do it.
I mean, no team would ever do it because
the fiscal responsibility. It's crazy, but it's just curious. I thought at one point you could only do it for 2 years.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, you really could only reasonably and realistically and financial responsibility-wise do it 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But could the Redskins do it 3 years? I would say probably not. But, I don't know. You have players who have cap numbers of not $34 million, but almost as high. It's crazy, but it's not that crazy. I mean, the problem is, if you have a franchise quarterback, and I think the Redskins, more so now than ever before, know they have a franchise quarterback. Last year, I didn't see a deal getting done regardless, and part of the reason was it didn't feel like they knew they had a franchise quarterback. I think now they know they have a franchise quarterback. So if that's what they need to pay to keep him, it would be crazy, but, not that crazy.
Well, they've given him if they don't get the deal done today, which they probably won't, they would have given him $44 million over the last 2 years, correct?
Yes.
All right, $44 million. Then if they decide, all right, what if Kirk goes out there and has his best year? He throws 33 touchdowns, 10 picks. They go to the playoff. They win the division. And then they decide, okay, well, he's proven enough. Now we got to give him the long-term deal. And they give him a deal similar to Carr. Then that means they would have given him $44 million guaranteed plus another 70 or 75 million
but Carr
guaranteed.
won't even get it done next year after that year.
Okay, I'm just throwing the number out there. All right,
Ian, we're going to have to call you back because your phone just keeps breaking up on us. Let's call him back.
Phone technology is brutal.
I get it. Carr won't do it. Those numbers, Carr won't do it. But let's just assume.
Say luck, because I think that's fair.
Okay, so luck.
If he has a huge year, like you said,
that's $85 million on top of the $44 million you just gave him.
Yeah. They completely
but that money's
butchered
in the past. Drab looked it up, and apparently 3. You can slap the franchise tag on 3 times.
I thought that's what it was.
Okay,
according
so
to an
max,
NFL.com story.
Right. They're not going to do that next year.
I wouldn't think, but I wouldn't put anything past the Redskins front office. There have been a lot of shenanigans in that front office since Daniel Snyder's been the owner.
What's the point? And then he's, what, unrestricted the year after?
I don't know. I can't explain what the Redskins front office does.
It's like they're betting on him to fail.
I wonder if they're actually rooting for
Instead
him to
of
fail.
betting on him, they're betting on him to fail.
Do you think Bruce Allen and Dan Snyder want him to fail so they don't have to sign him to a long-term deal?
No, they're just betting. They think it's more likely that he's going to regress.
Well, remember the conspiracy theory that I had?
Which is?
What they're trying to set him up to fail because they don't want him here to begin with?
I still think
a little bit of truth to that.
It burns their asses that RG3 didn't work out and that the guy that was handpicked by Shanny actually was the way better quarterback.
Right.
And it damages
Definitely a factor.
It damages their fragile egos to pay him that sort of money.
Why do you think they're setting him up to fail?
That's a Valdez whack.
Well, they're not necessarily setting him up to fail.
Well, this was
kind
before
of betting on it.
Before they signed Terrell Pryor, but you get rid of his two weapons in Garcon and Jackson, and then you move Crowder to your number one receiver, and then you have an injured Dachshunds, and that way you don't.
But again,
have any weapons.
those were financial moves, so they could conceivably sign their quarterback.
Doesn't serve them at all to set anybody up to fail.
Well,
they're not
yet.
setting him up to fail.
Of course not.
They're not setting him up to fail, but
I mean, they've improved the offensive line. They went up and they drafted 2 stud defensive players first couple rounds.
But it falls
They
off.
drafted a running back.
And they don't have to $1 million.
Right, then they can bail
They'll
easier.
they'll be fist pumping.
Get it?
Yeah.